Are you a supernaturally curious travel enthusiast? Looking for some chilling tales on your hot desert vacation? Well, then you've come to the right place because I am the ghost tourist and this is Palm Springs. A desert oasis of mid-century modernism, Palm Springs is a year-round destination that features a unique blend of native heritage, old Hollywood glamour, and tasty tiki beverages. But such blinding sunshine can also cast deep shadows. So let's dive in to the spooky side of the pool, shall we?
Caught a glimpse of something very weird. A ghost I fear is near me, dear. A ghost has slipped into my world, my world.
In this video, we'll hike a canyon that's host to an ancient evil, explore a beautiful old hotel with a ghostly Hollywood legend, and attempt not to melt in the 109-degree desert heat. But first, a huge thank you to my Patreon supporters, both old and new. Without you and your continued support, encouragement, engagement, the channel wouldn't exist. So my audience members, thank you. I love you. You're amazing. I hope you enjoyed this sweet Ghost Tourist mugs. And if you'd like one, consider becoming a Patreon supporter. Now, back to the video. So we're driving to Palm Springs from LA. For us today, it's only about a 2-hour drive since we massively lucked out with traffic. I always know I'm getting close when I see those windmills. The history of Palm Springs begins with the Agua Caliente people, who've inhabited the land for over 2,000 years, utilizing the area's natural hot springs. And to this day, many of the renowned spas and resorts still draw from this same source of underground mineral water. The city of Palm Springs was officially incorporated in 1938, marking its transition from desert outpost to luxury getaway during this period. I'm staying here at the Triada Palm Springs, a time capsule of old Hollywood glamour. What started as a private home in 1927 later became the Ambassador Hotel. It was once a favorite oasis among celebrities like Lana Turner, Elizabeth Taylor, Tyrone Power, and Howard Hughes. More on him and his ghost later. All right, we're checking in. We got room 305, pretty sweet, right next to the pool. Yeah, it's an apartment hotel, so it definitely got like a whole kitchen, living room, bedroom, pretty sweet. All right, we got a nice little bathroom and shower situation in here, nice old tile. Most importantly, air conditioning. So we got here, on the late side tonight, so we're just kind of setting up the gear, unpacking a bit, getting ready for the shoot, and tonight we're just gonna head over to Bootlegger Tiki and have a nightcap. Tiki bars have become synonymous with the culture of Palm Springs, and you'll find several of them all around town. But they're all here because of one restaurant that opened at this location in 1953. Don the Beachcomber was the pioneer of the tiki bar concept, first opening in Los Angeles in 1934. They were known for all the things you've come to expect at a tiki bar today, like exotic rum cocktails, Polynesian-inspired decor, and the tiny umbrellas. The Palm Springs beachcomber was a magnet for celebrities, with figures like Frank Sinatra, Lucille Ball, Desi Arnaz, and Marilyn Monroe, all sipping witty concoctions like the missionary's downfall, vicious virgin, or the cobra's fang. Today, Bootlegger carries on the fun in this dimly lit tropical oasis.
Is it haunted?
Well, one reviewer on Yelp suggests you avoid the last bar stool on the left, and a few Reddit reviewers claim to have experienced objects moving unexpectedly. But I think the main thing to be wary of here are the zombies. And you can still order one made from Don's original recipe from 1934. So, the Triada's pretty hush-hush about its haunted status, but there have been reports of paranormal activity over the years, including a few who have claimed to see the specter of Howard Hughes. Hughes was, among many things, a wealthy American manufacturer, aviator, and film producer who, in his later years, had several mental breakdowns brought on by his overwhelming OCD and germophobia. By the 1960s, he lived in total seclusion in various luxurious locations, including Palm Springs, and was rarely seen by anyone except a few male aides. Hughes continued working through this time, often for days without sleep in a black-curtained room. Eventually, he became so emaciated and deranged from the effects of his meager diet and an excess of drugs that he passed away in 1976 on an airplane en route to Houston, Texas. But none of this happened here. So, how is he connected to this hotel? It's a pretty murky history, but he owned a neighboring property, and many believe that he would book a room here to spy on it. And other reports claim he liked to stay at this hotel when Marilyn Monroe was in town. Prior to his breakdown, he was quite the prolific ladies' man, often visiting Palm Springs with one starlet or another. And as the rumor goes, he used to come to this hotel specifically to visit Marilyn Monroe, who was a frequent guest in the late 1940s through 1950s. She often visited Palm Springs to hide out from the gossip columnists. While there's no evidence of a relationship, the hotel's history as a celebrity hideaway was part of a culture that brought figures like Monroe and Hughes into the same circles. Now, Howard Hughes' ghost has been reported in more than a few locations, but some claim they've spotted him here, in Marilyn's old poolside suite, room 312. This claim is more than a little outlandish to me, but we've got 2 days to check it out. I tried a quick session back in the room but didn't get any response on the EMF meter or the compass, so we're just gonna set up the ghost cam and get some sleep, and maybe we'll luck out and catch something on the night footage. No paranormal activity to report on last night. I heard a couple knocks and bumps, but they were quickly followed by the air conditioning turning on, so I think it was just, sounds in the ventilation system here. Time to caffeinate. Supposed to get up at sunrise is very clearly past that time. But we've got some coffee, and we're headed up to our canyon hike. We came to this canyon in particular because of the story of its supernatural origin. Tahquitz Canyon. Here we go. I think that's how you say it, with the SH. Tahquitz was the first shaman created by Mukat, the creator of all things. He was meant to be an intermediary between the human and spirit worlds, and he wielded tremendous power. At first, Tahquitz used his powers for the good of all people, but as the legend goes, over time, he became selfish and began to cause harm to the Agua Caliente people. As a shaman, his responsibility was to visit the sick and heal them, but instead of sucking out the evil that was causing the illness, he began to suck out a little bit of the person's soul instead. Then, hunters began to find dead animals, their bodies like dried husks. Movement up on the mountain. We
it's mountain goats.
When the people discovered his betrayal, they became angry and banished Tahquitz to this canyon that now bears his name. They say he fled to the waterfall
And then flew up into the San Jacinto Mountains.
He made his home in a secret cave, and it's said that his spirit still lives there to this day.
Though it's an ancient legend, some believe that the spirit of Tahquitz still resides here in the canyon. Let's offer some proof.
That deep rumbling heard throughout the canyon, that's Tahquitz stomping in anger, shaking the ground, and causing boulders to slide down the mountain. You can hear him in the thunder and see his eyes flashing in the lightning of a desert storm. At certain times of the day, you can see his shadow on the side of Tahquitz Rock, and at night, he can sometimes be seen as a large green fireball streaking across the night sky. So maybe when you visit, don't hike this canyon alone or at night, because Tahquitz feeds on the souls of the living, and his appetite is insatiable.
Got that AC on.
I'd also recommend checking out the nearby Indian canyons. Sorry, nothing spooky here, just a beautiful palm oasis. It's ancestral land, and both Tahquitz Canyon and the Indian canyons are listed on the National Register of Historic Places. Okay, we're hitting midday and it is basically unsafe to be outside any longer. Both our phones even overheated while filming. So we're grabbing a quick brunch,
Yum, 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 yum.
and taking a fun little drive around town to look at some of the beautiful mid-century homes. This is the House of Tomorrow, but it's more commonly known as Elvis's honeymoon house. But if you're looking for his ghost, you gotta go check out my Las Vegas video. This is the site of the Friendly murders, an unsolved triple homicide from 1978. Sophia and Edward Friendly were shot and killed with a .45 caliber handgun, along with their maid, Frances Williams. There were no signs of a break-in, and nothing was stolen, leading investigators to conclude it was a planned hit rather than a robbery, perhaps motivated by inheritance. Apparently, years later, when the house was sold to actor George Nader, the murders were not disclosed, and according to a local ghost tour guide, he and his partner began to experience a fair amount of paranormal activity, especially in the room where Ed was killed.
So there's a good reason why Palm Springs became a popular Hollywood escape.
Much like today, celebrities were constantly hounded by paparazzi and tabloid reporters. But back in the 1930s and 40s, there were much stricter moral guidelines and ethical codes. So a star's life could easily be torn apart by gossip or scandal. An extramarital affair could take you from riches to rags, or being outed. Gossip columnists like Luella Parsons and Hedda Hopper wielded immense power. They had a devoted readership of millions who devoured every single one of their salacious stories.
So the stars felt that they were relatively safe from prying eyes out here in this desert oasis because the gossip reporters were only reimbursed for their travel expenses up to 100 miles. And Palm Springs is 107 miles outside of LA.
It's said that many of Hollywood's elite visitors loved eating, drinking, and visiting in Palm Springs so much that they decided never to leave. Liberace passed away here in Palm Springs, and it's said that he still entertains from beyond the grave. Though it's not quite the location you're expecting. For instance, his former residence has no reports of paranormal activity, but at his star on the Walk of Fame, people have reported spectral sights and a slew of colors while hearing a haunting piano from off in the distance. This seems like a rather outrageous claim to me. Perhaps someone had one too many tiki cocktails.
You want to do it again, don't you?
The sun is setting, the temperature is finally dropping, and the city is coming to life. But one of my favorite things to do at night in the desert is stargazing. The dark desert skies offer a stellar view, but as you seek out Orion's Belt or Tahquitz's green fireball, be sure to keep your eyes peeled for UFOs, because Palm Springs has a pretty fascinating history of unexplained sightings, including a variety of odd lights and shapes, such as the infamous flying diamond incident. Now, back to ghosts. So tonight, let's dig beneath the glamorous facade and get into the dirt.
So as I mentioned, in the 40s and 50s, this place was thriving. It had very sophisticated, high-end clientele. But then by the 1970s, it began to fall into decline, as did, the entire town of Palm Springs. And in 1994, it closed. And it remained closed until 2015. And then after an $8 million renovation, it became the Triada, which is part of the Marriott family. And of course, as always seems to happen, during the renovation, that's when a lot of claims of paranormal activity began. I feel like it's always the case. The renovations really just kick up the dust on ghosts.
The renovation is rumored to have been beset by a number of unexplained phenomena. Tools would move on their own, doors would burst open or slam closed, and many construction workers felt as if they were being watched by an unseen presence. Of course, we should take into account the power of suggestion. When working in an abandoned historical building, it's possible imaginations can run wild. The wiring can be faulty, and drafts are caused by a number of non-paranormal reasons. But still, after the hotel reopened, the accounts continued. Guests spoke of footsteps in empty hallways, whispers in unoccupied spaces, fluctuating temperatures, and the shadow of a tall man, who may or may not be Howard Hughes, that appears in room 312. Before the hotel officially reopened, one of the bartenders supposedly even took a picture of Mr. Hughes' shadow leaning over the bed. So again, room 312 was Marilyn Monroe's former poolside suite, where she and Howard were rumored to conduct their illicit affair. But regardless of any of that being true, this is the room with the most claims of paranormal activity. Occasionally, the housekeeping staff have reported trouble with making the bed because an unseen entity tugged the sheets out of their hands.
To the spirits of the Hotel Triada, are you here?
Does anyone haunt room 312?
If you can use the light or the compass, move the needle, make the device light up.
Are there any spirits present here at the hotel?
The most consistent experience seems to be the sound of echoing footsteps down the empty hallways,
which perhaps points to a residual haunting. Some theorize that places can retain the energy of those who pass through them, and thus leave behind these echoes of the past. The most active account, however, comes from a former employee who worked in the kitchen. He claimed pots and pans would often be moved about at night, and once he saw a full stack of dishes slide across the counter of their own accord. Now, our suite is across the pool from Marilyn's, but I'm guessing if Howard Hughes did stay here and was spying on a neighboring property, that he needed to be in one of the rooms facing the street. So it's possible that he could have stayed in this room. So maybe we'll catch some Howard Hughes action in our suite tonight in room 305. So we had another quiet night, not much to report, and it looks like we're gonna have another very sunny, very hot day. I took some Polaroids last night. Let's see if we caught anything. That's Marilyn's suite. Pretty spooky photo, but no shadow figures or anything. Well, overall, it's been a lovely yet paranormally uneventful stay here at the Triada. Time to start packing. Nestled beneath the shadow of the palms, the Triada offers a really unique blend of historical significance and paranormal intrigue. But, like a lot of places, the line between fact and fiction is pretty blurry, leaving us with more questions than answers. But hey, what a beautiful place to hunt for ghosts.
So I had a dream last night that my car rebelled, and come to find out this morning, it literally did. Battery won't start.
So I'm here solo this morning because we got up and Sarah's car battery wouldn't start, so she got stuck waiting on AAA, and I'm here doing a little morning hike. I guess because it was 108 degrees yesterday, the car gave up on us. This is the Palm Springs aerial tramway. It's the world's largest rotating tram car, which takes you about 2.5 miles up to Mount San Jacinto State Park. So I just got off the Palm Springs aerial tramway, and this is the view of the Coachella Valley down there. It's beautiful. Also about 25 degrees cooler up here, which is so nice.
The ghost tourist is off shooting some more footage while I sweat.
It's only a balmy 108 degrees with no AC.
Mount San Jacinto is a 10,834-foot peak, the second highest in Southern California. The park is a 14,000-acre sanctuary with many stunning vistas and trails of various difficulty levels. Oh, look at this gorgeous desert view. Off to the north, about 50 minutes by car, you'll find Joshua Tree. We were hoping to drive up there this afternoon and talk about the legend of the Skinwalkers. But because of all the car trouble, we'll have to pin it for another time. Being a little higher up with all these conifer trees, it really makes me want to go up to Northern California and do an episode on Bigfoot, right? I should definitely do a Bigfoot episode. So we're nearing the end of our time in Palm Springs. I'd love to hear if you have any ghost stories to share. And, as always, hit me up with any future episode suggestions in the comments below. Hey, thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Stay spooky.
This is the last call for this tram car to the Valley Station. Final call. And thank you for flying Palm Springs aerial tramway.
Ah, yes. What happened to the car?
We are back up and running. My car was able to get jumped, which means that we do not have to hitchhike back to Los Angeles.
A tremendous thank you to Sarah, who has the patience of a saint and waited multiple hours in the sweltering heat to get the car fixed today.
A ghost